solution for the people. Do you care? Yeah. Will you tell me that you represent? I really want to see some evidence. In freedom, this is evidence. So bring it from your soul.
Good morning. This is Tasha Grace Boris, PDP candidate for Tobago West, and I am here on the street, 91.9 FM, coming to you on Wednesday, 15th July 2020. This is Wake Up Wednesday. So for those of you who are still sleeping, go and wake up your friends and family. Tell them to turn on their radio. Tell them to jump on the computer and go on the live stream on YouTube or Facebook. Tell them go on my page and click on my live. This is Wake Up Wednesdays. It is Wednesday, 15th July 2020, and I am here once again with you. Thank you guys for tuning in early. Thank you guys for jumping on the live as soon as the notification comes up. Thank you for just inviting me into your homes once again, your offices, your cars, on the street, wherever you may be. This is the middle of the week. It is time for us to wake up. Wake up Tobago. Wake up Trinidad. Wake up Trinidad and Tobago. Wake up the rest of the world. We have to understand where the game is taking place. We have to understand the gravity of the situation that we are in. Today is Wake Up Wednesdays. Wake Up Wednesdays is a no-holds-barred type of show. Talk the Things Tuesdays does have fire, but you see Wake Up Wednesdays is me talking to the people directly. It is me talking to you, the people, who need to wake up and see what is taking place around you. Talk the Things does talk all kind of things, and it does talk everything about everybody. But when I come on Wake Up Wednesdays, this is the middle of the week. I want to leave you with something that motivates you, inspires you, transforms you, so that you can go through the rest of the week knowing fully well that you received everything that you needed to receive when you listened to Wake Up Wednesdays. Once again, my name is Tasha Grace Boris, PDP candidate for Tobago West. And I'm here with you this morning on Wake Up Wednesdays. Now, there's a lot of things that we have to talk about today. There's a lot of things that I have to say to you today. But I also want you guys to interact with me as well. So I'll give you the numbers to call very, very early. The number to call is 717-9591. That number again is 717-9591. For those of you who prefer to text, the WhatsApp number is 734-6355. That number again, 734-6355. So this morning is Wake Up Wednesdays. Now, I have to admit to you guys that the Prime Minister thought he pulled a fast one on us. And when I say us, everybody else who have political parties and all other candidates who may be trying to fight this election on an independent ticket. He thought that, okay, I'm going to only put 38 days between the dissolution of Parliament and the actual day of the election. I have all my candidates inside. I have my machinery inside. I'm going to catch everybody napping. What does that say to you about the Prime Minister? That there's a guideline in place in terms of how elections are to be conducted, so that they are conducted in a free and fair manner. And I want to emphasize on the word fair here. Because how is it fair for you as the Prime Minister to be able to know the election date, have it in your back pocket, as they say, The election date is in the Prime Minister's back pocket. The rest of the country is oblivious. We have elected you, and you are holding an election date over our heads. And that other parties who may be vying for the vacancies created at the level of Parliament have no clue as to when that election can be called. So that obviously they're expecting, hear what? Even if Parliament is dissolved today, there's a stipulated time frame between the time that Parliament is dissolved and the time that an election should be called or should be held, which is something like 60 days or 90 days, but some stipulated time frame that states, look, we're going to give everybody a level playing field. We're going to give everybody the opportunity to be able to prepare themselves adequately to fight this election. But you go on and call this election and call it 38 days after you dissolve Parliament. So I can look at that thing in one of two ways. One, you are a cheater because you have all the advantages. Any incumbent who cannot tell you what they did, how they did it, how well they did it, what successes they had, what things they do outside of the things that they said that they would do, above and beyond what is expected of a good government to transform this space. If no incumbent can give you that list of things that they did to improve the lives of all citizens across the board and progress our country from one place to another in the time that they have been elected, if they can't tell you that, then it means that they have told you that they are no longer fit to be put back there to rule. That is what they are telling you. I am hearing all kinds of things from the incumbents. I am hearing them criticize opposition parties still 5 years after you have been in power and you had the chance to do what you had to do because the ball is in your court. I am still hearing them trying to discredit opposition parties and opposition personalities because you might not have much to say about the party itself, but you have a whole lot to say about the personalities involved and who is fit to run for office and who is not. So you're criticizing everybody who has the opportunity now to put in an application to fill the vacancy that has been created by the dissolution of Parliament. And you cannot explain to the electorate, you cannot show to the electorate, you cannot demonstrate to the electorate that when you were there, that we moved from one place to another. You are hard-pressed to find your successes to list to me. But you spend the majority of your time on a platform criticizing your opponents. You spend the majority of time on your platform pointing fingers at the people who are offering themselves as an alternative. You talk about make the right choice. The PDP is the better choice. The better choice because you have demonstrated over and over again that you are not fit to lead this island, that you are not fit to stand in the shoes of the great men and women who went before you, who built the institution of the Tobago House of Assembly. You have demonstrated on more than one occasion that you are not fit to stand in Parliament to say that you are representing Tobago and Tobago's interest. Because in the 5 years that you stood in Parliament, have you ever defended Tobago? Have you ever spoken up on Tobago's behalf in any real way? Have you ever advanced the cause of Tobagonians, especially Tobagonians who have been suffering as a result of decisions made by governments past and governments present? Have you put aside your party affiliation for all of 1 second and thought about what is it that the people of Tobago want me to advance on their behalf? What is it that they want me to represent on their behalf? And you have done nothing. You have sat in Parliament, you have stamped on tables. That's all you do. Your hands getting exercise. Rubber stamping. Decisions made by a Parliament that has no respect for the 2 members of Parliament from Tobago. No respect, not even an ounce of respect to bring 1 singular bill that had to do with all of Tobago's business. They passed tens of bills in Trinidad. They passed a number of bills in Trinidad in the national interest, in the interest of a select few, a group of people. They passed bills to amend existing legislation, to make their lives better, because sometimes the bills have nothing to do with anything happening in Tobago. But yet, our two Tobago voices have never stood up in that parliament and said, you know what? Let Tobago have its time. Let Tobago be given the opportunity to speak. Let us get the opportunity as the two MPs to just stand for this one time in the parliament in 5 years to advocate and speak solely on Tobago matters. Mr. Prime Minister, relieve us of our collective cabinet responsibility for one moment. Let us talk about Tobago. Let us research our history. Let us pay our respects to the great men and great women who went before us. Let us call their names in the hallowed halls of Parliament. Let the Hansard show that we, on one day or 2 days out of a 5-year parliamentary term, stood in true defense of Tobago. Nothing doing. This is Wake Up Wednesdays. I want all you to watch them. I want all you to really seriously take a look at them, because I wasn't in there. I now jump up in the dance. You could watch me too, that is not a problem. But watch the man who had the opportunity with all the resources at his and her disposal to get things done. Watch the men and women who had more than enough chance to advance your interest. And when the opportunities arose for that to happen, they said and did nothing. I want you to watch them, Tobago. I want you to watch them, Trinidad. I want you to watch them. This is Wake Up Wednesdays. I using my prime ministerial voice, because there's always time for the fire, but there are days that you just need to let the flame show. The flame would light the way. That is the day. This is the day. Wake Up Wednesdays. My name is Tasha Grace Boris, Progressive Democratic Patriots candidate for Tobago West. And it's my job this morning to wake you up, shake you up, break you up, and make you back up. Wake Up Wednesdays. I want you to watch them. Watch them. They can't walk in some places because they knew they made a mess. They can't visit certain households because they know they made promises that they could not keep. And they don't even have the gumption. They don't even have the guts. They don't even have the heart to go back to these people and say, look, I am sorry. I submit myself to you humbly, asking for another chance, asking for an opportunity to make it right. They'll never do that, because as soon as they got in there, they lost their humility. It's we time now. That is what was said. I want to remind all you. It's Wake Up Wednesdays. Wake up. Because you know what happens? When they get in there, they're all humble when they had to be begging for a vote, because they don't want support from all you, know. As I say, when I come to all you, I asking for support, because I want to be a representative. But they want to be politicians, so they want a vote. That is the difference. The difference between a politician and a representative. And I'm pronouncing it that way on purpose, because the idea, if for those of you who didn't tune in yesterday, let me just backtrack a little with the lesson. When we grew up in school and we were learning how to read, we will break up big words in syllables. represent, represent, presentation. So the electorate presents themselves, presents their issues, presents their dreams, their visions, their goals, their hopes, their aspirations. They present that to the people who have the opportunity to go in the forums to repeat that presentation. Repeat presentation. That is the purpose of a representative. To repeat the presentation of the people, because it is the people's voice that you have to represent when you go in parliament. So let me tell you the difference between a politician and a representative. A politician is only interested in your vote. Listen to their dialogue when they are canvassing your communities, when they are campaigning in your streets and in your backyards and in your high places and your lower places. Not one vote for them. I'm asking for your vote. You know we have to get your vote to go back in. Vote, 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 vote. The right choice, vote. That is the length and breadth of their message to you. They're interested in your vote. That is a simple transaction. You go into the booth, you stamp your X by their name, you walk out of the booth, you put your ballot paper in the box and you dip your finger in the ink, and that is the end of your relationship with them, because they have received what they wanted. Your vote. And some people are a little bit more fortunate that their votes are worth more than others. So some people get a little money. Some people might get some alcohol. Some people might get pork on the corner every Friday until election day. Some people get promises for contracts. Some people get contracts. But all they want is your vote. They don't care about you. But a representative wants your support. A representative respects your right to choose and comes to you humbly and says to you, I'm presenting myself to you as an alternative. Are you happy with the representation that you have been receiving? Are you happy with what you have seen from the persons that you have put there to represent your interests? Are you happy with the work that they have put in over the period of time, whether it be 4 years or 5 years? Are you happy? Is there anything else that you want to say? Do you have any issue? Do you have any recommendations? Do you have any comments? A representative wants your support because they want to know about you. They want to know what is going on with you, because you know why? After a representative comes to you and presents themselves to you as an alternate option, when you go in that booth, that is your business. A representative doesn't want to know who you vote for. They want to represent you. They want to represent you. The vote is just one thing. But a representative is more interested in knowing that they have your support, so that the day after election day, when the work starts, a representative comes back to the people and thanks them for showing them the first step, which is to vote for them, and the second step, what we are going to do together to move this place forward. What are we going to build in Bethel? I was in Bethel last night. I have to shout out my Bethel people. I have to say good morning to Mr. Weston Joseph. I met him at the bar, and he is such a darling old man. And he took one of my jerseys and put them on immediately. So I said to him, he says he don't vote. I said, Mr. Joseph, by the time you finish listening to me, I think you will change your mind about what you want to do election day. But just listen to me. He immediately put on my jersey and then came up on the hill after we were finished and ensured that I was safe. So thank you, Mr. Joseph, and it was a pleasure meeting you and your friends yesterday. A representative goes back to the people and says, thank you for giving me the chance to represent you. And the very next thing the representative says is, what we are going to do now? Now is the time for work. Let me pull Bumbi and Jamesy and Miss Pearl and Mr. Henry and Tanti Marge children and this one and that one. Let me get together. Let me see how we could get this place working. That's what representatives do. So that at the end of a representative's tenure, 4 years or 5 years, you wouldn't have to say, oh, we never see that person since election, because they represented you. They were always among you. You don't have to use fancy hashtags. Never left the ground. If you didn't leave the ground, you wouldn't have to tell people that you didn't leave the ground. Let us be real here. Let us be very, very, very real here. And we have had representatives in the past when there was no social media, when there was no media and no TV and lights and all of these things. We had representatives in the past who at the end of their tenure, they didn't even have to campaign. They did not have to canvass. They did not have to walk street to street trying to convince people to give them another chance. People just automatically went on election day and stamped their finger for them because they worked, because they demonstrated their worth every single day. A representative, as Zia just put up, puts away their party colors after election day, and that is the truth. Because a representative is a representative for all and not just some. A representative represents those who voted for them, who voted against them, and who did not vote at all. That is what a representative does. But you know what is the problem in this Trinidad and Tobago? And this is the wake-up part. We have too much politicians in Parliament. We have too many politicians in Parliament. When that House of Representatives goes back to being a House of Representatives, that is when we will see performance. That is when we will see our communities rise. That is when we will see our people start to live good. When we no longer have politicians in office. When we no longer have politicians in office. We have too many politicians in office who just want your vote. They want to use you. They want to abuse you. They do not care about you. And we are hard-pressed to find the representatives. And because we have so many politicians in government and in governance, the people who are actually true representatives, the people who actually want to work for people, can't get nothing done. Can't get nothing done. And that is the truth. I want all you to wake up and watch this thing. Because I'm showing all you the equations, I'm showing you the Tobago Trinidad equation. I'm showing you the PNM versus everybody else equation. But I'm showing you the politicians versus representatives equation. It's plenty much jumping up here. Politicians on one side, representatives on another side. Why is it in this day and age that you have a system of governance that says to you that the majority takes all? 41 seats, and let's just say somebody wins 25, so they form the government. And that opposition parties, opposition, whoever is the opposition, whoever forms the opposition, their constituencies suffer because they didn't vote for the majority. And it happening right here. So let me give you a real example. It happened recently. All you must wake up and watch the thing. COVID measures. MPs were given food cards, national food cards, which were the black, red, and white ones, to distribute in their constituencies. And all MPs were given food cards, both government and opposition MPs, to help and assist persons who needed the help and assistance in their communities. Tobago House of Assembly, THA food cards, a kind of greenish, bluish document. Who got cards? Only majority side elected representatives and councillors. Councillors who don't even have a damn seat got food cards to distribute. But two elected assemblymen in two areas where the people chose differently got nothing. That is what they think about you. That when you vote against them, nothing for you. And it happened in Tobago. Let me talk the things. It's Wake Up Wednesdays. Wake up the people of Roxborough and Delaford. Wake up the people of Palataville and some Speyside. You got no food cards. You got no food cards. All because why? That is the minority side. State resources and behaving like if it belonged to them. Wake up and watch that. This is COVID. COVID affected us all. COVID did not say, I only going and lick down PNM people. COVID didn't say, I only going and lick down PDP people or UNC people or PEP people. COVID affected us all. State resources, taxpayers' money, you pay for that, I pay for that. And people of Roxborough, Delaford, their elected representatives got no food cards to give out. And how is that fair? How is that fair? Why do we have a system of governance that keeps down who didn't vote for who win? Shouldn't it be, and this is wishful thinking on my part, but shouldn't it be that when governments go into power, whoever is on the majority side should ensure that there's equitable distribution of resources across constituencies? Don't we put aside our party affiliations after election day? Why should people in opposition constituencies be clamoring for the things that all citizens of Trinidad and Tobago should be able to enjoy? We are taxpayers. Why should they suffer for 5 years because their party is not in power? And the party in power only fixing the people. Nothing for all you vote against we. All years UNC, nothing for you. The recording of the minister. Right? You put on your name on a list for a hamper. But I hear all is UNC. What that have to do with people wanting to eat? What that have to do with people who I need? Shouldn't it be that governments are tasked with the responsibility to ensure that all the basic needs of a population are taken care of regardless of where that population resides? Shouldn't it be? But then they come into office and tell you, we in charge now. What does that say to you, Trinidad and Tobago? What does that say to you? What does that say to how they view you? They view you as the pawns on a chessboard. Very dispensable. They can get rid of you at a drop of a hat, at a moment's notice, because you know why? They don't get your vote already. You don't rubber stamp me for 5 years. You don't stamp my passport for 5 years, for 4 years. To hell with you. If I see you again, good. If I don't see you again, well, that is what it is. We have too many politicians in governance. We have too many politicians in government. They play politics with everything. They play politics with people's lives every single day. They play politics with each other every single day. And the country is going to hell in a handbasket because all they're concerned about is pointing fingers on the other side. You had 5 years. You had 5 years. But you're still blaming the people who was there 5 years before you. If you did nothing to fix it, it means that you weren't the man for the job. Step aside. Give somebody else the chance. Because if, and I just paraphrasing and ad-libbing what the chief politician said. I think you need to pull up that meme for me, Sean. The one where he said the thing he said. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. I want to read it. I don't even want to ad-lib it. I want to read it for you. Because their words come back to haunt them. Their words will condemn them. Na me say, na tong say, I you say. I you say. Right? It's time we start electing representatives to our highest seats of power in this country. And you just know them enough. You just know when a man giving you slick talk. You just know when a man trying to soft soak you. You just know when a man talking these sweet words in your ears. I have met people who said that because of the trauma that they have suffered from politicians that they will never vote again. Never vote again, and there's nothing I can say to them to convince them otherwise. And you know what I say to them? I don't just walk away. Because I say I understand what you mean. Because I felt the same way. That all politicians are the same. And that is the truth. All politicians are the same. They are the same. They lie to you. They lie to you. So that when they see somebody else from a political party, the first thing they assume is that person is a politician. But you know what I say to them when I meet them? I say, I understand what you are talking about. And the only thing that I would say to you is this. Listen to everybody. If it is you have no problem listening to what they say, and you have no problem listening to what I say, take a listen. There's time between now and the election. And if you are compelled to change your mind, if you are compelled to change your stance from not voting at all, I have just presented myself to you as an option. Have a blessed day. And I walk away. Because that is all I can do. Because there will be people who will not vote because they trust nobody. And they are waiting to see what the next man who go in there do to restore their faith, to restore their confidence, to restore their hopes, to restore their dreams and aspirations. And that is why when opposition persons unseat incumbents, the standards that we are held to are so high. Because the standards they had before was below the white line in the road. That's the problem. They expect the opposition people to have all the resources outside of governance that they have inside of governance. They expect opposition people to be constitutional and legal experts. They expect them to be the best of the best that the country has to offer, but they don't have to do nothing right because they are politicians and they have the might of the PNM or the might of the UNC or the might of whoever behind them. And we have too much politicians inside the dance. The dance saturated with too much politicians. And the young people who are out there watching, the young people who are out there watching and want to offer themselves up are turned off by your behavior. They are turned off by what they see because they see naked grab for power. They are turned off from wanting to make a difference because they don't see any choice. They don't see them being able to break through that glass ceiling, that old boys club. Because most political parties are an old boys club. They don't see the opportunity for them to do that successfully. And so they say, we don't want no part of politics. That's what the young people telling me. We don't want no part of politics. And they have every right to say that because we have failed them. We have been poor examples to them. We have erased the history of those who went before us. We didn't teach them about A.N.R. Robinson. How many of them know about what happened on July 27, 1990? The anniversary is coming up just now. 30 years down the road, how many young people who are born in this generation between 2000 and 2020 know what happened on July 27th? Know that our sitting prime minister put his life on the line for this country. There were men and women, brave men and women, who put their lives on the line for this country. And there were brave men and women who lost their lives for this country. How many young people know that? But politicians have sullied our history. Politicians have erased the true heroes. That is what they have done, and they have glorified themselves. Their vanity goes before them. Their pride goes before them. And our humble servants, who had very little resources, little or no technology, they did the best that they could because they loved their people. They weren't in it for the fame. They weren't in it for the glory. They weren't in it for the lights, camera, action. They were just simply in it to represent the people. But then we had a new generation of politicians taking over. And they have made us forget our history. They have erased the true heroes from the books. They have done that. And they have done the youth coming up a grave disservice because the youth have no moorings. They never string a berry nowhere because they don't know where they come from. They don't know their lineage. They don't know anything. And when they turn to us for example, we have continuously failed them. When are we going to sit in this country and have a serious conversation as to how we have traumatized each other, how we've traumatized our population, as how a small group of people sitting in the highest office in this land have traumatized a people? This is Wake Up Wednesdays, a war little wake up. I don't talk thing I don't know. They are traumatized by what they have seen passing for governance. They don't even know what good governance looks and feels like. To have a parliament full of people who are only about people. They are about the people's business. If I was Prime Minister, just for one day or one moment in time, one of the first things I'll do is cut ministers' salaries. Cut them tax breaks that they get to buy fancy vehicles. Cut out all them things. Your people are suffering. People out here can't eat. People out here don't have shelter. But you have a cushy office and a cushy salary, and you driving a big car that the state paying taxes for, but the average man car gets a break. You are a servant of the people. You should not be above them. It should be a privilege to serve your country. Ministers should be taking public transportation. Right? If you can't live on minimum wage, how you expect others to live on minimum wage? But your salary high in the sky. Some of the salaries is the yearly salaries of people in this country. Yearly. What they get in a year, you get in a month. Imagine that. And some are all of they just taking up space. Some are all of they doing nothing. Some are all of they progressing nobody and no place. All they not adding value to no situation. And all they just collecting money under false pretenses. That is what all you're doing for the longest while. The country has been no better for your presence there. And you can't even help the people in your constituency. You can't even make the lives of the people who live in the place that you represent or you say you represent better. But your bread butter on 10 sides. Some people can't even smell bread. Some people don't even know what bread look like anymore. Some people, as soon as they pass by food places, their belly start to talk to them in tongues at that. Because they don't know what it is to know where their next meal coming from. Some people looking in the dustbin for their next meal. Some people right now don't even know how they're paying rent. After after this rental grant period, and maybe they might get an extension. Suppose the business that they worked at doesn't open again. That the economy is depressed. And I'm talking about Tobago here, Tobago West, where COVID would have hit our businesses very, very hard. That some businesses will never reopen, and some businesses are on the verge of closing down. And that even before COVID, we had a number of businesses that closed down as a result of this inter-island bacchanal. And let me lay blame where blame is to be laid. Between the PNM and the UNC, the both of you are to blame. Take all your blame this morning. The people of Tobago should have never been in a position where they had to be begging whoever was in government to ensure that we had an inter-island ferry service that worked. Take all your blame. This is Wake Up Wednesdays. I want the people to wake up. All you wake up. Let it take their blame. Watson Duke was not in power. Tasha Boris was not in power. PDP was not in power. Nobody else was in power. Take all your blame. There are some businesses that will never recover as a result of what took place with COVID. We have people who in the foreseeable short to medium term do not have job prospects. I met a young lady yesterday on my walkabout that has a degree in social sciences and a law degree in Tobago, in Bethel. And every time she sends out an application for a job, she is rejected. She is told that she's overqualified. And you know what her last job was? Because she just had a baby. She's no longer working. She said she was flipping chicken. With a degree in social sciences and a degree in law, she's frying chicken. We have failed our young people. We have given them access to education, but no access to opportunities. We throw them out the nest halfway with half a wing. How are they going to fly? How are they going to fly? You tell them, get an education. Fight up, get your grades. Do well, graduate, and then when you come out, nothing for you if you don't know the right people. That people with 3 O levels can have jobs in this country, making far more than minimum wage because of who they know and who knows them. But those among us who are qualified and deserve an opportunity to demonstrate their competency, salt for you. We have too many politicians in governance in this country, and we don't have enough representatives there. Because if we had prime ministers who were the chief servants of the people, you wouldn't have to be begging anybody to vote you back in. Because people will judge you on your works and your words. Some of you have an attitude of arrogance, that you don't understand the gravity of the office that you hold. You don't even respect it. For you to stand up in the hallowed halls of Parliament and say, we time now. What the hell does that mean? What does that mean? We. Who is that we? That we ain't the people. And the people have been saying it because they have been saying, we haven't seen her. She don't come wrong here. She can't come wrong here. The people have been saying it. Who is that we? Who is that we are talking about? Wake up, people. I ain't calling no names because all you know who I'm talking about. All of that is in the public domain. The Hansard will show. When you say that you insult my intelligence, ma'am, who is we? So who didn't vote for you, not in that we? Who didn't vote at all, not in that we? Who time it is? You mean your time? Your time to pose and preen. Your time to run up a phone bill that you didn't have to pay for out of your pocket. Because you're behaving like if you never see come see, like you never traveled before and you don't know that you have to take off your mobile data. Really? You don't know about technology? Really? Am I to believe that? Really? So if you don't even know how to operate your own phone, why am I re-electing you again? Why? Your mistake cost taxpayers $59,000. $59,000. You know what $59,000 could do for families in communities? You know what $59,000 could do for youth groups in communities, sporting groups, police, youth clubs, church groups? Do you know what $59,000 could do for a school? Do you know what $59,000 could do for an old age home? Do you know what $59,000 could do for people? But you did not take your responsibility seriously. And now you are begging people for another chance to fail again. Because even after that, when I thought that that incident may have humbled you, that incident may have forced you to take stock of where you were going and to check your arrogance by the door and check your vanity by the gate and remind yourself how you got where you got. Take the roof and run. I'm not certain what you learned at all in the time that you have been there, but it doesn't seem like if you learned much. Take the roof and run. I have children. I have 2 children that I love so much. My greatest title is mommy. And I will never teach my children ingratitude. Because they say ungratefulness worse than witchcraft. And it's the truth. Ungratefulness is worse than witchcraft. Take the roof and run. All the time the people suffering. All the time people have been waiting for the systems to work. Because you guys are in charge, eh? The people have followed the procedures, those of them who sent in their applications. And even people who did not know about that process. It's the role of the representative to inform them, well, hey, there's a place called the Division of Settlements that you can go to that treats with that kind of thing. Or you can go to self-help. They also treat with that kind of thing. Or you don't know where it is? This is the address. Oh, this is the number. Speak to somebody. That's what representatives do. So you're not physically dealing with an application, but you're letting people know what options are available to them. Because you might be able to fix the people's roof. But you are the person in charge. And I'm pretty certain that you have the phone number for the politician in charge. And you have phone numbers for the public servants in charge. And you can say to them, look, I have this application or I have this constituent who has an emergency. Who has an emergency that I think that you need to treat with quickly. That's what the role of the representative is. That is to represent. So the people have been crying out for representation for the longest time. And because one group of people who have formed a political party, one group of people who have brought together a coalition of the competent and the willing, one group of people who has said, you know what, we see that there is a need to be filled because the system is either broken or it's not working or it's not reaching the people that it needs to reach, or maybe it's just overwhelmed. For whatever reason, the people are not getting help, because there might be very, very good reasons why the people are not getting the assistance. I don't work in there, so I don't know. But as I said, it's either the system is broken, it's either it doesn't work and it never worked, or the system is overwhelmed, that there are too many applications inside and not enough money to go around. And if that is the case, they can come out and say that. They can make a public announcement that, look, we have 1,000 applications inside for assistance. We can only treat with 500 at this time. And we are going to prioritize those applications according to those who are in the most critical need. And when you tell people that, at least they have information to work with. So the man who could hold some strain knows that he has to hold some strain. That the man who applied hoping to get through with a loan or something, he can say, you know what, let me see what I can do on my own. Or the group of people living in a yard who waiting on the assistance and know that they may not fall in that bracket of critical need can say to themselves, here what, let us pool our meager resources together and see how we can help ourselves. People can only make informed decisions if they have information. Because a group of Tobagonians who looked at their fellow Tobagonians and saw that their fellow Tobagonians were in need and decided to do something about that need. Your response to that was not to congratulate that group of Tobagonians and say, thank you for assisting us with this because we needed the help, or thank you for reaching the people who we could not reach, or thank you for just stretching your hand and adding to the efforts that are already there. Instead of doing that, you say to people, be ungrateful. Take what they are gear, but run. Nothing for them. No support. And that is that culture that you guys have buried as a poison seed in my Tobago land. This culture of ingratitude. This culture of corruption. This culture of greed. This culture of bad begging. That's what you guys have done. That you are telling my Tobago people to be ungrateful to those who have assisted them. Because one good turn deserves another. My daughter is a girl guide. She's a girl guide. And that's what they teach you. One good turn deserves another. And if there's a bunch of people who are willing to stretch their hand to assist, and I don't even like the word assist. I don't like the word help. I don't like to use those words. You know why in 2020 in Trinidad and Tobago we should not talk about helping people? I don't want to get into parliament just to help people. I don't want to help people. You know what I want to do? I want to empower people. Because when you empower people, they help themselves. They are not beholden to you. That you make people better. That you make their lives better so that they can empower their families, they can empower their children, they can empower their neighbors and their brothers and sisters and build their community. I yearn to see the day that politicians become an extinct race. Because our communities become so empowered that we are able to take care of ourselves to such a high standard that we could be self-sufficient in our spaces. That representatives are just there for administrative purposes. That we have decentralized power into the hands of our people in their communities. And they can now help themselves and each other. That is my vision. That is my dream. That is what I want for my Tobago. An empowered population. A proud, empowered, elevated, educated population. who have all the opportunities that life has to offer, for them to become their best selves. And when that day comes, I know that I have done my part in that, and that I can calmly hand over a baton to who is coming right after me to run the next leg of the race, to continue building that house, so that if I live long enough to watch that house go up and be completed, that I can look back, stand back with my brothers and sisters in Tobago, and I could say, Olia, job well done. Job well done. We did it, and we did it together. We did it for our island. We did it for our country. We did it for our children and our generations coming after us. We have given them a platform. We have given them a foundation. We have given them a launching pad, and the sky is the limit, that they can go anywhere they choose to go, that they can soar, that they can fly. And I can say, job well done. I can say that we did well. I want all to wake up. There's so many things at play here in this election. So many things at play. I want you all to retreat inside yourselves for a moment and understand how important it is for you to participate in what is going to take place in a few days. And don't let it stop on that day, because the problem, again, with governance in this country, that we, the population, we do not hold our governments accountable. We only hold them accountable at election time. We give them 5 years and 4 years to run roughshod over us, the people. We give them 5 years and 4 years to do what they feel. And we don't hold them accountable. We don't make them understand that we are the employers, that we gear the work. And as fast as we gear the work, we could take it away. As fast as you humbled yourself asking for the job, you need to remain humble. That you need to remain thankful every day for the opportunity to serve. They forget that. They forget that, and we make them forget that because we don't constantly remind them of their obligation, that oath that they take at the beginning of their term as a parliamentarian. They should have that stuck up in their car, in their office, wherever they can cast their eyes. They must see that oath to remind themselves of why they are where they sit, because they quickly forget that oath. They quickly forget who put them there. They forget everybody, not just their party, not just who supported them, who's not part of their party. They forget everybody, and they only help who they like. They only help who they want to help. That's what happens. And they are not interested in advancing the interests of the collective. They are only interested in advancing the interests of those who they like. That's what we see. So that this is our opportunity to really shake up the foundations of this status quo that we have been subjecting ourselves to the last few years. It is our opportunity in Tobago, once again in 2020, as we did in 1976, to send 2 independent representatives in Parliament to speak for and on behalf of Tobagonians everywhere. Tobagonians in Tobago, Tobagonians in Trinidad, Tobagonians outside. It's time enough that we Tobagonians, let we mind we business. Let we wake up to the reality that we cannot depend on politicians in Trinidad to fix our business. We cannot depend on them. Let we wake up and understand and accept that as fact. Because they will come again and play politics with this autonomy issue. A warning all year. Every 5 years, like a football from one end of the field to the other. That's what they do. They don't care about us. They stand on a platform and point on the other side and say they didn't do it. Well, they didn't do it neither. Well, they didn't do it neither. 1996 to now is 24 years. 24 years. 24 years that Tobagonians have been waiting to get their business fixed. We send all kind of people to talk for we. Some of them talk and some of them didn't talk at all. We send all kind of color to represent we, and they did nothing. They couldn't break through. They could not break through. Well, I'm telling you this today. Tashia Grace Boris and Watson Duke of the PDP, we will blaze trail where others failed before us. Because I am telling you, I'm not going down there to fail. I'm not going down there to fail. Because Tobago people are tired of failures. And they are tired of being on the receiving end of failure. That is what has been happening to us. We have been on the receiving end of failure. You buy 2 hotels and leave them to rotten down and telling we it's costing $70 million to fix failure. Tobago people have to swallow that. You know why $70 million in this day and age? You know why $70 million? Failure thing. That we took 12 years to build a cultural complex. And it's here last 6 years. It's like a white elephant, a pretty tank in the middle of Scarborough. We can't even hold a meeting in the building. $1 billion staring us in the face that we can't use. Failure thing. Let we wake up. And Trinidad have plenty failures to talk about. Plenty, but are focusing on Tobago. Right? Money going missing across divisions, ghost gangs. Failure thing again. People documents going missing for their gratuity. Failure thing again. How much times will Tobagonians be on the receiving end of failure? How many times will we continue to be given excuses for people's failure? I'm telling all you this. Record this, quote me. If I go there, if you give me the work, if you give me the chance, if you give me the opportunity to be your representative and I fail, I will not come back to you asking for a second chance. I will not. I will give somebody else the opportunity to do what I could not achieve. Failure is not a word in my dictionary. And I plan to go there and give it my all, my blood, my sweat, my tears, whatever it takes. And if my best is still not good enough, then I, Tashia Grace Boris, I will not come back to you asking for a second chance. The only thing I would say to you when I come back to you is, I tried my very best and I could not do it. So please look at somebody else. Look at some other person who is now offering themselves and see if they can do what I failed to do. I'm not afraid of that. I hold myself to very high standards. When I put my mind to something, it gets done. I have never failed an exam in my entire life, from primary school to high school to university. I have never failed an exam. I'm not boasting. I'm just telling you the facts. So that when I entered this race, it was never with the intention of failing. I will succeed. Regardless of what the platform looks like, I will succeed on your behalf. But if there are forces outside of my control, if there are forces out there right now listening to me, conspiring against us, myself and Mr. Duke and our party, to get the job done for Tobago, that when we go there as the two Tobago voices, you use the might of 39 to trample us, to silence us, to choke the life out of us. If that is what you plan to do, I'm warning you today. We will do what we can. We will use every avenue available to us within the ambits of our constitution and outside in terms of those international bodies, CARICOM and the UN, to bring home autonomy for Tobago. That is the mission. That is the only job. Because once we've brought home autonomy for Tobago, Tobago people now have the platform upon which they can launch themselves into the atmosphere. The onus would then be on Tobago people to elect the kind of leadership that is necessary to take them there. Elect your Joshua in the form of Farley Chavez Augustine. That is your Joshua. That is the man who would take you into the land of Canaan. Elect your Joshua. Mr. Duke is going forth as your Moses to lead the way. And I am your David. I am your David with my 2 stones and a slingshot, and I will bring down Goliath. That is your team. That is what Tobago has at its disposal. Persons who have been chosen for a special mission. That is what you have, Tobago. Do your part. Do your part on the 10th of August. Do your part. Make sure that your Moses can go before you. Make sure that your David can fight for you. And make sure that your Joshua in January can lead you into the promised land. It's time to wake up. When you look at the other side, when you look at what they have offered you, when you look at the persons that they have presented to you, do you see a Moses? Do you see a David anywhere? Do you see a Joshua? I think not. I think not. So to Tobago, it is time. It is time to send your best before you. It is time to send the people in front of you to lead the way. It is time to send your Moses to carve the path through the wilderness. It is time to send your David to fight for you, and you know that. You know my heart. Every morning I've come on this radio tired. But I'm here because my heart beats for you. That is what keeps me going. My body may give out on me eventually, but my heart and my mind beats and belongs to you. Send your David to fight for you. And send your Joshua, your Farley, our wee boy. Send your Joshua to usher you into the promised land. Zia, thanks for that. You send your Moses to part the Red Sea. All you can see that this is a spiritual thing. This election, this time, this is not just, this is the people's election. This is the people's fight. This is the people's opportunity to finally move themselves from the place of bondage. Move yourselves from the people who will oppress you. Remove yourself from under the people who will victimize you, who spite you, who beat you, who abuse you, who lie to you, who laugh at you, who spit on you. People, you have a chance to choose your freedom. Wake up. Wake up and gather your frills. Gather your Georgie Bungle. Gather your children, your people, your brothers and sisters, your families, your young ones and your old ones. And let us turn our eyes to salvation. Let us turn our eyes to freedom. They fight this election on a spiritual front. They do all kind of thing. But God has this election in the palm of his hands. G-I-E, God in everything. That is what I tell myself. God in everything. This outcome is already decided. I am not worried. I have no fear. None whatsoever. I want to give glory to the race that I run here. I want to give glory to God. I want to ensure that I run the best race that I can. And at the end of the day, he can tell me, job well done, that I can feel it in my soul that he says, job well done, my humble servant, job well done. You did exactly what I put you there to do. Send your Moses to part the Red Sea. Send him. That is what he has been empowered to do. Part the Red Sea. To carve a way for his people. To leave that place of bondage. To leave that place of oppression. To leave that place. Send your David. Your might. Your shield. Your armor. Your sword. Send your David who is unafraid to take down the Goliaths down the road. Because I am unafraid. Send your David to represent you. We will lead the way. And after that way is carved out, after we have taken you through the desert and the wilderness, because it's not going to be easy. They will not make it easy for us. They know how valuable Tobago is. Why you think they're taking so long to give us this autonomy thing? I want all to wake up and understand how valuable Tobago is to this union of Trinidad and Tobago. Because they have no other excuse to keep us down, except that they know that the day that we recognize how valuable we are, we can stand up. And we will be equal to them, and we may even surpass them. Send your Moses. Send your David. And in January, God Spare Life 2020, you send your Joshua. You send your Joshua to lead the people into the land of Canaan. You send your Joshua to be the good shepherd. You send your Joshua to take care of the flock. Because the work was done by Moses and the work was done by David. And Joshua will bring it home. And Joshua will remind us what accountable governance, good governance in Tobago looks like. Joshua will build your communities with your help, with your support. He will empower you. He will empower you. He doesn't want to help you. He wants to empower you. Because he will not be there forever. He will be ensuring that those who come behind him can take up the mantle and continue the work. He is going to ensure that his people get the kind of leadership that we have been lacking. And I saw somebody comment and said that the Most High don't meddle in politics. You are correct. The Most High don't meddle in politics. He doesn't. The Most High loves his people. The Most High loves his people. And we love our people. We are in it for our people. We do this for our people. We do this every day only for our people. And I think that is something the Most High would bless. That's something he will bless us for, because he knows our hearts. And for those of you who are in this with sinister intent, for those of you who are offering yourselves up and your heart no good, the Lord shall reveal you for the fraud that you are.
Indeed.
The Lord builds up and he also takes down. So the Lord is in everything and everywhere. And sometimes the Lord allows his people to suffer for a little while for them to understand his power and his might. But I foresee that this time the Lord is giving us another chance to make a better choice. To choose people who love people. To choose people who love their country. To choose people who are not in this for the vanity and the fame and the money. And all these things of the world, the pleasures of the world. He's giving his people another opportunity to do differently. And this time, we have to take it. And if we don't, we have only ourselves to blame for the outcome. On the night of August 10th, 2020, would the people of Tobago be celebrating a victory for the people of Tobago? Or would we be crying for another lost opportunity? The ball is in our court at this time to choose differently and to choose wisely. For those of you who want to call in, the number is 717-9591. That number again is 717-9591. I want to hear from you. Tobagonians, it's time to wake up. Wake up to the realities that you face. Wake up to the realities that this thing is not going to get any better if we leave it in the hands of a bunch of politicians who do not care for us. That we are the ones who have the opportunity to chart our destiny. We are the ones who have the opportunity to determine where we end up. That if we stay in Egypt in bondage or we go across, we take up ourselves and we go. And we don't know what the end may look like, but it will be far better than where we came from. For certain. Because now we have a chance. Now we have the opportunity to do what is right. For our children and our children's children, we now have the opportunity to empower ourselves. We now have the opportunity to choose. And choose what we know is best for us. Let me take this call. Good morning, caller.
Morning.
Hi, good morning.
I'm calling from New York again.
Yes, good morning to you.
I'm looking at you and I'm telling you, if Tobago don't open their eyes, I should say we, because I'm from Tobago. If we don't open our eyes, it's wrong, something is wrong. And we would be a terrible, terrible country for the next 5 years. We got to open our eyes. We have to understand what is fake and what is real. You understand me? And it's not just talking. You could see it in your eyes, your mind, your passion. This is about Tobago. This is about us. It's not about Trinidad and Tobago. At least we need them. But look, Grenada. Look how Grenada is going, and Grenada is way smaller than us. Tourism. We want that in Tobago. I'm trying to come to Tobago right now, but I can't because of the border. I'm heading to St. Lucia. So we got to open our eyes and watch what's going on and just take it from there. Everybody's not going to like you. Forget about them. But I know when you get there, you're going to be seeing about those who don't like you and those who like you. So don't worry about them. You just keep doing what you're doing. Have a great day, my sister.
Thank you so much, caller. Sean, you want to weigh in a little bit? Let me gather my thoughts.
I was going to interject a bit earlier, but
you go ahead now.
As usual, on fire. So I was remembering a little YouTube clip that I would have shared on my personal Facebook page at some point earlier this year, perhaps before the pandemic happened. And it was when Mr. Robinson was elected for the first time as the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. He made a statement on the interview. He was over here in Tobago, and he was saying, if you could let me hurry up with this interview, I can come down the road to give my victory speech, right? So he was saying, when it is a government or a political entity acts in a manner that provokes revulsion from the people, they are likely to be swept out of power and possibly out of existence. I always remember that statement, and it brings us to a point now where we have to examine the actions of the people that have populated the corridors of power. Have they acted in a manner that is provoking revulsion from the people? Evidently so, because the
evidence is there.
It's all around us. If you look around, during the walkabout yesterday, or during the, when I was canvassing in a particular area yesterday, I spoke to a lady and she said, nobody ever pays attention to people in this area. Nobody ever pays attention to people in this little area. Nobody ever speaks to us. Nobody ever tries to represent us. But that young lady, I think she has it.
Right.
I think people are now understanding and appreciating what representation entails. It doesn't mean handing you a jersey, or it doesn't mean handing you a certain sum of money for whatever purpose and whispering sweet nothings. Sweet nothings
telephone love, man.
Sweet nothings Tobago cannot sustain you for 5 years.
Can't sustain your family.
Sweet nothings cannot sustain your family. Sweet nothings would not put food on your table.
Sweet nothings does not empower you. It doesn't teach you anything. It doesn't add value to your life. And they're going to come whispering more and more sweet nothings. And some of those sweet nothings would be tainted with poison. I have to call it poison. Right? They're going to try to poison your minds against anybody who opposes them, because they believe that they are the only ones with the ideas. They're the only ones who know how to govern. So they should just be given the mantle by default. I'm saying to you, in all the time that I've been walking around, I have met young men, I have met young women that have such a passion for their country. They just hate politics. And if we were to get these young people on board, the kind of country we would have. Let's take another call. Hello, good morning, caller. Caller, can you speak up a little bit, please?
Oh my God. Hello.
Yes, I'm hearing you now. Sorry about that. Go right ahead.
You clearly?
Yes.
All right. We have people that are just ranting. Oh, the government was able to manage COVID. In all fairness, Trinidad and Tobago, let us look at the whole picture. The Prime Minister was in Ghana. He and his entourage came back. They went to Guyana. And 2 or 3 days after they came into the country, they locked down the country. That is one. While the country was under lockdown, persons came in, said that they had the flu. That's why they weren't able to come to the meeting. So they come to talk COVID. They came with oil magnate. Oil was sold, went to Aruba, end up in Venezuela, and nobody mustn't ask question about that. That is what you call managed goods. They rant again. No money. Money for 3 days. That is what they believe because the other side said it. So they believe that there was no money to run the country for 3 days. But during the lockdown 2 weeks, they found $50 billion in the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, drew down $20 billion, and still went back after they announced the election and took out the next 2. That is what you call manage. Hello, people, open your eyes. And you can't ask questions because they're ready to run up your chest and run down your back. But the Lord is your high tower. You are surrounded by the fortress of God, and He has His angels fighting for you, my sister. You are Watson. All you go brave, go strong, and all you're in it to win it. God bless you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for your comments. I mean, I want all you to really wake up and look around at everything that is taking place. Examine everything. Examine the horns, as they say. Captain, there's a traitor on board. Examine the horns. They say that they've done all these things in your best interest, but when you look at who has been benefiting and who continues to benefit, is it the people? Can we truly say that the people are benefiting? Think about it. We have had, 120 confirmed cases of COVID, something like that? 120 something, maybe. And we've quarantined a number of persons, let's say 3 times that amount, 4 times that amount. But the kind of money that we have spent, it don't add up. That they have said that they have spent money to provide social support for persons.
And people can't see the grant yet.
People can't see the grant yet. I don't understand. And nobody is saying to us, look, we have 100,000 applications to process. And if we do some simple maths, if you have a staff of 20 people that are taking at least 5-10 minutes to process an application, let's say 10 minutes, one person can process about 5 applications in 1 hour. And if they are working 8 hours per day, with 1 hour for lunch, so that's 7 hours working hours for the day. 5 applications per hour. That is 35 applications per day. Multiplied by 20 people is how many people, Sean? I really don't like math. 20 by 35 is how much? Right?
That's 700.
Right. So 700 applications per day. So take 100,000 applications and divide it by 700 and tell me how much days it would take to process all these applications. Come, Sean, come.
I'll look in here.
100,000 divided by 700.
Let me see.
142 days.
Roughly.
So if there are 30 days in a month, it'll take us how much months to process COVID relief? 142 divided by 30.
By 30. Let's see. Yeah, about. Okay. 4.7.
Right, 5 months.
But roughly 5 months. Just under 5 months.
Right, just under 5 months.
Yeah.
So here's what, to be fair to the process, yeah? Because I kind of want to be fair. Let us hope that They are still processing that. Some of you who have applied since March, if the math is correct and it's something like 5 months, you may get some relief by the end of when? August?
Yeah, hopefully by the end of August. But then there's other factors involved.
And that is the thing. So,
like
I mean, maybe that's our best case scenario, right? Maybe that is our best case scenario.
Because forms go missing.
Right.
We are told.
People have to resubmit.
That's right.
People have incomplete forms. People have to be called to provide information, so that processing may take longer. The reality is that relief is not going to get to everybody in a timely fashion. But I'm asking myself, if this is the best that could have been done, where are the systems that we should have in place in cases of disaster to be able to kick in to ensure that the persons who need the help the most can get it at the shortest possible time? And this speaks to management. This speaks to management. Is it that we are walking around Trinidad and Tobago automatically assuming that because God seems to have a Trinidad and Tobago passport, because that's what they say, God is a Trini, that nothing bad could happen to us? If COVID did one thing, it should have awoken us to the realization that the people who are tasked with the responsibility of managing our country have taken disaster management for granted. Because there should be systems in place. There should be systems in place that if, God forbid, we are hit by a hurricane and we have to provide relief for thousands of citizens, that we can get relief to thousands of citizens within the shortest possible time frame. And we have seen bigger countries do it. We have seen Canada do it. Right? Aren't we not taking example from these places? Don't we have access to technology and expertise and advice from all persons, from everybody who is willing to fight this thing on our behalf? We have a number of eminently qualified Trinbagonians who can provide information and advice and support to put systems in place that work for people. Even as simple as processing applications, that should be automated. That should be automated. And I am willing to bet any amount of money, I'm willing to bet that come September or October, regardless of who goes in power, somebody going to stand up and say, oh, there was bubble with respect to the distribution of relief grants. Because it happened with the relief grants that were given out for Greenvale residents. There was bubble and people had to get charged with fraud. Everything in this country, we can't do nothing without bubble. Always something with corruption. We need to mash that up. We need to wake up and understand how corruption affects even the smallest person. That over the years since we became an independent nation, and before that to present day, we have lost hundreds of billions of dollars to corruption in this country. They have people who have made so much money on the backs of the poor and the working class that their fourth and fifth generations don't have to work one day in their lives. We're getting another call.
Thanks.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Yes, I have a concern. I've heard you this morning, and you have some very valid points. However, we are what I want to talk about is things that are directly affecting Tobagonians as we speak. We are in the height of a COVID-19 pandemic. Yet I am seeing circulating in social media a condition of an old hospital with some biomedical waste. That's an epidemic waiting to happen in Tobago. Could we talk about that? I saw where the Tracy Celestine was supposed to talk about it yesterday. Why this is like this? I mean, these people doesn't care anything about the government. That's a stark issue, and that's life and death we're talking about. Thank you.
Thank you, caller, for calling in. Yes, that I didn't even want to begin to start to talk about that because I lived in 4th Street, just down the road from the old hospital. And I saw that move from that old hospital to that new hospital. And ever so often I find myself back on 4th Street where the old hospital is. And ever so often I'm privileged to hear about things that are not going right in the new hospital. And I'm asking myself, is it that the people in charge do not give a damn about Tobagonians? That is the only thing that the only conclusion that I can come up with. Hazardous waste disposal has been an issue for years. It's not just the other day. You're always hearing the incinerator breakdown, this, that, whatever. And we have not solved that problem, and that problem can simply be solved. Why is it that the people who are tasked with the responsibility to ensuring that the systems that should exist to treat with these matters exist and they work and they are accountable, and that if they break down, they can be quickly fixed? Why does it have to reach to this level? Why does it have to reach to this point? Why are we re-electing you to do a bad job? You all are failures. You all have failed the people of Tobago. If you cannot do the work, don't apply for the job for me, please. Healthcare is a critical part of any functioning society. And heads should roll. Heads should simply roll. And after the heads roll, you put new heads there who know what they're doing and give them the resources to get the job done. And all cannot tell me, I'm not taking the excuse that money is the issue. Money is not the issue, because if you could find $1 million to put up a metal sign in Scarborough, that's not helping nobody right now. You could find the money to treat with our waste disposal issue at the hospital once and for all. You can do that. You can do that. If you can find money for vanity projects, all colors of rooms, duplicating programs that already exist, just to spend money how you feel on your friends and your family, then you could more than find money to fix the critical areas that need to be fixed. Get what I'm saying? It is time for the persons who have been placed in positions of authority to do the job. If you are not qualified, stay out. If you have no intention of learning the job, because there are some people who start off not qualified for a job, but they commit themselves to learning the job and doing their utmost best. I could remember starting a particular job and I had no experience. I had the qualifications, but I had no experience. And I learned the job. I learned the job from the people who were there before, who knew the job the best. And I learned everything that I could about the job. I soaked up all the knowledge that was available. And then, when my learning was over, I was given the opportunity to demonstrate my competence. And there are some jobs where you have the opportunity to get a probationary period. There are some jobs that you get the opportunity to have a honeymoon period where you can learn and you don't have to deal with any crisis. And then when you are finished with that probation, you can now walk into the position with the requisite skills and qualifications and knowledge to do the job. But there are some jobs that there is no grace period. Healthcare is critical. Anybody who walks into the shoes of working in healthcare does not have the leeway to make mistakes. What are you going to tell a family as a young doctor that you prescribe the wrong medication, and because you prescribe the wrong medication, their loved one is dead? Some jobs do not have room for error. The problem has been highlighted. Fix it. Simply fix it. I don't want to hear any excuses. I don't want to hear about the history. I don't want to hear that you have no money. It's your work to find it. Find the money. Find the money and fix the problem, because that is what you were elected and selected to do. Fix the problem. You are putting yourself up as someone who could potentially lead the island. You are in charge of the division. Fix the problem. Simply do what you have been selected to do. You say that you are qualified. You say that you are the best on the island. You say that people can repose confidence in you. Demonstrate it now. Walk the talk. That is your opportunity. Walk the talk. It should not have reached to the level where it had to be exposed like that. It should not have ever happened, because our system should work. Our people should know that their elected and selected officials are getting the job done, that they could rest easy at night knowing that the people who are in positions of authority know the job and get it done. People should not have to be suffering for another person's mistakes. Nobody should have to suffer for you falling down and falling asleep on the walk. Tobagonians, wake up. Wake them up. Because apparently they're sleeping on the walk. It's time to wake them up. Wake them up and remind them of exactly why they were hired to do the job in the first place. Wake them up and remind them that the performance appraisal time will come. And we will not give them a pass. We will not give them a pass. Because they failed to do what they said that they would do, and they failed to carry out the mandate that they were given. You will not get a pass. The standards that you want to hold somebody else to is the same standards you should hold yourself to. You want the opposition to come up with young Jesuses. We must be that good. We must be that pure and that beyond reproach, that we must be perfect in the eyes of God and man to even get the opportunity to represent. But your standards could be below the white line in the road, and we must accept that. No, let the playing field be even.
Agreed.
Wake up, Tobago.
Is it that we promote and condone ignorance? Because I'm reading a statement here somebody posted. Power does not corrupt. Ignorance corrupts, and ignorance manifests itself in many ways, including fear, greed, and hatred. So is it that the people that we put there are manifesting their ignorance?
That's a very, very, very important thing to consider, because I know the original quote was power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Correct. That's the original
But then when
quote.
you think about it, if you are a good person, that you have stellar ideals and morals and convictions that can't be moved, you can't be bought, then power really should not corrupt you.
This is true.
Access to power should not corrupt you. In fact, power should actually amplify your good ideals. Power should actually put you in a position to become your higher self, to be able to bring value to a situation, or to add value and execute.
Agreed. Right.
Because all power does is give you access. It gives you access to people and resources and situations and opportunities.
And it should be used for the greater
And
good.
it should be used for the greater good.
Development.
Exactly. So that poster has a very, very good point. That maybe we have been electing too many people who are ignorant of themselves and ignorant of their own ignorance.
And ignorant to the needs of the people.
Well, of course, because if that's another, we're going on. That would be opening a can of worms there. Because it speaks to values.
Yeah.
It speaks to who you are as a person. Look at your representatives. What do they value? Do they value material things? Do they value material things? Do they value fame? Do they want to be seen and be acknowledged and called honorable? Long before they've earned the title. What do these politicians value? Because I don't want to mix up representatives and politicians. What do these politicians value? Access to vices. Not to devices, vices. Money.
You know what I find very interesting?
Drugs. Women. That's what politicians value. They want to walk into a space and be the big Sawati. That's what politicians value.
You know, you made a point earlier talking about technology and how technology can be used to advance causes and to make things better and to improve systems. It seems as though technology is being used very conveniently because some of these entities have no problem using technology with big screens and big floats and all sorts of different things to appease the voter or to appease the masses, to appeal to the masses rather, to get a vote. But when they get into the seat, the said technology is not utilized for the service of people
to
and
make
country.
People's lives better.
You're using the technology, you know, to get a vote. But when you get the vote and you get into the seat, you're not using said technology to improve the lives of people.
Right. So we go around during this election time collecting names and numbers. Because I see them, you know. They meticulously write out your name and address and your phone number. Because on election day, all of a sudden the machinery is well oiled. Some of you can't see. Some of you can't walk. Some of you not good for yourself, but they're finding you. Once your index finger walking. Once you have an index finger. And even if you probably didn't have one, if it got cut off or something, they will use the next one. Once you have a hand. Once you have a hand. They're going to dig you out of the deepest hole that you live in to get you to come and vote. But as soon as you don't vote for them, where does that information go? Your name and your address and your phone number. Do they call to check on you? Do they call to find out if everything is good with you? Do they call to find out if you're okay, if you need any assistance? Do they just call to say hi? Nothing. You don't hear from them. You don't see them. That is politicians. These politicians wake up and want all to understand. They will take all your information and put it in a database to ensure that on election day, you come out to give them the vote. Politicians want your vote. But when you meet a representative who, a representative wouldn't even ask you for your number. A representative would give you the number. They would say, here what? This is a means to get onto me. It's up to you if you want to use the number or not. And then when they establish that relationship, because when you use the number once, the representative knows who you are. And you then have a relationship because that representative will now know who you are and what you give and what are your skills and what you could bring to the table for all of us to pool our collective skills to empower that community that you reside in. Because a representative's eye is on development. People development. Because when you develop people, everything else comes after. Who building big buildings? People. Who implementing programs? People. Who are creating the innovations that are required to drive countries forward? People. Who are ensuring that there is law and order? People. Who are creating symbiotic relationships, interdependencies between communities? People. Who are advancing the cause of each other? People. Who are taking care of one another? People. When you empower people, everything else comes after. Your work becomes easier because you now have empowered people to help themselves. Because as one person, there's only so much you can do. But if you have an army of empowered people, imagine how many people. You take your candle, your flame as a representative, and you light one candle, and that candle can light hundreds of other candles. That is what you do. That is what you do. The ripple effect of representation is empowerment. That is what it is. That is the true purpose of representation, empowerment. And if they're not talking empowerment, they're not talking representation. They're talking bacchanal and commerce and politics. If they are not talking about empowering you to be a better you, for you to be a better mother to your children and a better father to your kids and a better husband to your wife and a better wife to your husband and a better example to the youths in society. If they're not talking that, they're not talking representation. They are talking about politics. And politics does not progress a country. Politics has never progressed a country. Countries are built by empowered people. When you look, because we like to talk about examples, when you look at Singapore and when you look at Dubai and you look at all of these places that have development.
Even
Rwanda, oh gosh. Rwanda is the hallmark right now. They had a genocide, 1994. Hundreds of thousands of people were murdered, and they were murdered by people who were their neighbors. That one day everybody was living quiet and good, and the next day a man break down your door with a machete and cut off your head. That is what happened in Rwanda. That was but 26 years ago. And now Rwanda is the beacon of light in Africa.
That's right.
They have demonstrated to the world that they can come back from the worst thing that any country can go to, can ever experience. We have it good here. Because when carnival time come, it don't matter the color, everybody jamming. When religious holidays come, everybody celebrating. People still intermarrying. They're still dollarizing the nation. There are countries here that races can't mix. There are countries here that religions cannot live together in peace. There are countries in the world that ethnic background is the difference between life and death. We still have it good in Trinidad and Tobago. And when you see Rwanda and the Rwandan president, that man
Paul Kagame
empowered his people to rebuild their country, and they did so. Imagine if he had played politics. If he had only been a member of one side or the other and they could not forgive one another, where would Rwanda be? Still in the throes of a war. Still in the throes of people not trusting one another. Still in the throes of people trying to physically, mentally, psychologically, spiritually get over a genocide. They would never be close to where they are not. But you know what? That president empowered his people. He created a system where the wrongdoers were brought to justice and the victims were allowed to reconcile, because reconciliation had to happen, because they said if we have to carry this country forward, there must be reconciliation. Yes, the people who perpetrated the most heinous acts during the course of this, they must pay. But the people, the two ethnic groups must reconcile. Never again must this happen. Never again. And in order to ensure that it doesn't happen, we have to create systems of reconciliation. And after that, and during, because it's still taking place. It's still taking place because nobody can get over the horrors that they have seen in one lifetime. But they had to take the first step and forgive each other. Sadly, the dead has already died. They had to bury their dead. But in going forward, in order to ensure that there's no more dead to bury because of this issue, they had to reconcile. And their president empowered them to be able to forgive one another and empowered them to rebuild their country. If they come to you and they're not talking about empowering you, they are talking about politics, and politics never built any progressive society in the history of this world. When you have leaders who empower people, that is when great nations are built and sustained. The number to call in is 717-9591. I would like to take a few calls before we wrap up today. So for those of you who have been waiting to call, the number is 717-9591. It is Wake Up Wednesdays. When I walk into the studio, I have no clue what I'm about to say. I don't ever prepare anything, really. I say what is in my heart. And the Lord does give me the words because I pray before I speak. And He gives me the words. And I'm thankful for that.
Of the heart
because He tells me the things that the people need to hear. I am but His vessel. I am but the messenger. This is not me. I don't own this. I don't take credit for this. This is all God. I am His humble and faithful servant in all things. But going back to the Rwandan example, we could take several pages out of Rwanda's book.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of reconciliation that has to take place. That we wake up. We have allowed politicians to divide us along political lines. That in this Tobago, as a young person who has never had a run-in with the law, I never steal nothing from nobody, I think I look as an upstanding citizen should look. Right? I've tried to engage some people just walking about in the community, and I would say, good afternoon, sir, good afternoon, ma'am, may I come in? May I enter your yard? And the kind of cuss I get from some people, the kind of cuss, and it's kind of disappointing, because if that is where we are at as a people, then we kind of in a bad state. It shouldn't be that just because I have one political viewpoint and you have a different one, that we forget our manners, we forget our foundation, we forget how we were raised.
And that we're all human.
And that we're all human. I would never run anybody from my yard like that. PNM, you're welcome to come in my yard and I have no problem. I would say hi to you guys. But I would jam all you. I will ask all your questions. But I will be respectful. Right? So that when I see elders running young people from their yards, all because young people choose to stand up and make a choice. You may not like the choice, but that's your personal opinion. That has nothing to do with them. They are not hooligans, they are not disrespectful, they are not any of the sort. And when you run them, you know what you're telling them? You know what you're telling young people? Once all you didn't choose my party, once you didn't choose the people I support, you are nothing to me. You don't even deserve a good afternoon. That's what older people, that is what our generation that went before us is telling us. That we are not even worth the dignity of a good afternoon. Let's take another call. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, I'm hearing you. Good morning.
Yes, I am first.
Ma'am, can you turn down your radio a bit, please? I'm hearing a feedback.
Yes, I'm first time caller.
Yes, go ahead. Nice to hear from you.
Yes, first time caller. Well, I wanted this morning. I listened to the production, whatever it is on the radio, and I listened to you quite well. I'm asking God to bless you and bless you all, and God bless you all. Let me bring tears to my eyes this morning. Ask God to cover you under His precious blood. Cover the whole under the precious blood.
Thank you.
Bless you all. Bless you. Bless you all. Bless you all. You say it all. You bring tears to my eyes. Till I have to call. I have to call somebody. They ask me why you're crying. I say, I'm crying for what I hear, the truth and the real truth. Nothing else but the truth. But God bless you all. And you will prevail. You will prevail. You all will prevail in Jesus' name.
Amen.
And thanks for listening to me. And you will know me one day.
I would be happy to meet you wherever you are.
Yes, you will meet me. And you will be happy to meet me too. God bless you. God continue, my darling. God bless you. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you all. Bless you all. Right. The truth continue. Good work.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
What is the right position?
Thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you for your blessings. Thank you for just... This is not me. I don't take credit for anything that I say because... Oh, we are getting another call. Let me just...
That's good.
Let's see. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, my lady.
Yes, I'm hearing you. Good morning.
Congratulations to you for taking up our fight for the people in Tobago and also Trinidad. I hear your vigorous promotion from your voice, and you are coming in so plain and truthful. And I'm asking my Tobagonians to support you and your partner in this fight for Tobago especially, who will give assistance to the people in Trinidad also. Now, I have to come to the office tomorrow. I would like to meet you and have a discussion with you in the office. Congratulations to you and continue your program. It is very initial and understandable. Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words, and I hope to meet you soon, even if it's not tomorrow, but I hope to meet you soon. So I am here. For those of you who would like to give me a call, my number is 315-6720. It's a number that I have been giving out from the beginning of this. It's the only phone that I have that works. So you can call me 315-6720, or you can send me a WhatsApp message. I will respond as soon as I can. I want to hear from you guys. I'm happy to meet you guys. I'm happy to just engage with you one-on-one. This is just me, and this is just me presenting myself to you. And the more people that I can engage with, the more people that I can meet, the more people who can tell me their hopes and their dreams and their vision for this island, is the more ammunition I have to take down the road. That is the bullets that I need.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Those are the bullets that I need. Because we have to get to a place. We have to get to a place, Tobago. I want all you to wake up and understand that. You all need fighters in Parliament for you. The time for play is over. This is not a sandbox. I'm not going down there to play marble pitching with nobody. Playtime is over. I'm about the people's business. I'm about Tobago's business. I'm not going down there to make any friends. Because as far as I am concerned, they have not been friends to Tobago. For the longest time, Tobago has not seen anybody extend the hand of friendship over here to sort out Tobago people business. So I will approach you from the standpoint of, I need you to get serious, and I need you to take me seriously. And once you give me what the people of Tobago have asked me to ask you for, we could be friends after that. But there ain't no friendship thing in this, because when you have friendship thing, first they take you for granted. They feel like if, oh, me and that person good, so they could do what they want. No, me and you're not good. 39 are all you, me and all you're not good. We're not good because we have work to do. Let me do the work first, and after we do the work, we could play. We could make friends. Right? After the work is done, after we've empowered our people, after we've fixed our nation, because our nation is bleeding, our nation is hurting, our nation is on the brink, our people are fed up, they are frustrated, they are saddened, they are broken, they are battered, and they are bruised. And if we are representatives, if we are true representatives of the people, we will ease their hurts. We will fix their problems. We will do the job to the best of our abilities. We will empower them, and we will not be afraid when they become empowered, because an empowered people will choose the right leaders to lead them. This is not a vanity project. If people reject you, it's because they recognize that you are not fit to lead. That is not. Allow people the opportunity to choose, please. Allow people the opportunity to choose the best people to defend them and to fight for them and to work for them. If you did not come up to scratch in the interview, don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. You have too many people entering this thing and taking it personal. That is politics. That is not representation. Because I will tell you this, Tobagonians. If the results go a particular way on August 10th, that only is just one part of this for me. I am in this for the long haul. I will not rest until my people, my Tobago people, are empowered. And the Lord has blessed me with a voice, with some skills and some talents. And I want that other people who have voices and who have skills and who have talents, who want to make change outside of the politics, let we build we island. Let we don't wait. Let we don't wait. Time is running out. This is not about party. This is about people. Because people need to be empowered. Party is your personal choice. All political parties are the same. Everybody's philosophy is the same. Fix yourself and we people. All political parties in this country have the same foundation. Fix yourself and we people. Right? Whoever they determine their people to be. So this is not about party. This is about people. We need to fix our people. All people. Not some people. Not certain people. Not them people. Not those people. But all people. There is no loss in this for me. I don't lose sleep at night because of an election. I don't. I lose sleep at night because I'm thinking about all the people who have reached out to me for help that I have to respond to. That is what makes me lose sleep. What makes me lose sleep is knowing that there are so many people in need and I don't have the resources to help them all. That I cannot respond immediately to them all because I am but one person. But if I can meet other people, if I can get together with other people with the same drive and the same passion and the same love for people, then collectively we can empower us all. That is what I lose sleep over. The people will choose on the 10th of August. The people will choose. And August 11th, my work continues. Because the people will continue to need empowerment. And I have no intention of resting until the day dawns that we have an empowered people. That I want Tobago to be the shining example in this country for what an empowered people looks like. What an empowered island looks like. What an empowered generation who is not afraid to build themselves looks like. So that when people in Lavantil looking over in Tobago, they could say, well, look, they fixed Tobago. Why we can't fix Lavantil? And when people in Arima look over and say, but what's going on in Tobago, boy, them people over there get together and get some things done. They can fix Arima. And then people in Chaguanas and Point 14 and Ikakas and Maruga and Mayaro and Manzanilla and Blanche says and Toko and Lansmitan and Tunapuna and La Hoqueta and Maloney and Mova and Sealots. When they look at Tobago, they must be able to say, hey, Tobago people didn't need politicians. They needed structures, yes. They needed systems to work in their favor, yes. They needed resources, yes. But you have a people that is empowered, that they have the will, because none of these things come up to anything of count if the people do not possess the will. And Tobago people, we need to wake up and repossess our will. Repossess your will to get up and make the change you want to see. No politician could bring you change. The only thing a politician could bring you is exchange. You exchange one politician for another. We need to repossess our will. Because with the will, there is no mountain that we cannot move. That is what we need to do. We need to wake up and repossess our will to get things done for our people. We need to repossess our will and become empowered. And never again should we give that power over to the hands of people who care nothing for us, who care nothing for our development. When they come to you, whoever they are, whatever color jersey they wear, if they are not speaking about development and empowerment, they are not speaking to you. My name is Tasha Grace Boris, PDP candidate for Tobago West. And we have come to the end of Wake Up Wednesdays. It is 10 minutes past 9. I hope you guys are having an excellent day. I hope that wherever you are, I've just been able to wake you up and shake you up just a little bit. And that a little bit is enough. That it's more than enough for you to get up and make a better choice for your family, a better choice for yourself, a better choice for your generations. Watch them, watch us, watch me, watch us all. Watch the politicians and watch the representatives. And choose wisely. Today is the last day for those of you who have issues with your registration to vote, to have those issues rectified. I'm sending a call to those of you who have not checked whether or not you're registered to vote, to go on the EBC website. I understand that there is some glitch, so that instead of putting in your street name, you put in your district. So if you live in Bethel, put in Bethel. If it is you live in Crown Point, put in Crown Point. If it is you live in Susulans, put in that. I'll take this final call before we go. Hello, good morning.
Tasha.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. I'm calling from Tobago East. I'd like to speak to you off here, please. Take this number that has come in. Call me back on this number, please.
Okay, sir. If you can do me a favor, you can take my number and call me as soon as I come off. My number is 315-6720. That number again, for those of you, 315-6720. Okay, so I just have one more call to take. One more? No. Yeah. So, yes, anybody who would like to speak to me, my number is 315-6720. Yes, so we have one final call. Let's take that, and then we will be off.
Yes,
hello, good morning.
Good morning, my dear. Good morning, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Last caller. I don't know where were you all the time, all these years and so on. To bring that new kind of light to the people and new kind of hope to the people here in Tobago and so on. Far too long we've been dormant without that fighting spirit that we see now in you and Mr. Duke. And, he said it yesterday, it's not the smoothest, nicest person that God uses to bring about certain things, If you look at the Bible, you look at the people, the example that he used, the different type of, men that he used and women to bring about change. You are a real inspiration, and we ask that you continue. If you need more people to, have going around, walking, how is the walking around going?
It's been going excellent, actually.
Right. Right. So we want to assist with that, so I'll meet you up at the office.
Okay, please feel free to give me a call as soon as I come off here, okay?
Yeah, you enjoy your day. Yeah.
You too, sir. Take care. Yes, so we have one more call. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
No, I'm not seeing, I spoke to Mr. Duke yesterday and I told him that we need to get some flags and something to have. We need to do the campaign on the ground. Nice with the airplay and everything, but you see, on the ground where we having one-on-one with the people, with the voters, we need that. And I'm calling from Tobago West too. And I'm telling you that in order for us to win this election, we have to do the groundwork. It has some people that doesn't vote, especially the undecided. We need to go and meet them. Because most of them, they mightn't be listening to the radio. And one person, they might just see the jersey and they might just throw up their hand and I ain't voting. So we are the ones to really meet them wherever they are and let them see that, listen, this voting is just not for you and me alone. It's for our children and for Tobago. We need this. I don't want in 2022, 2023 we come back and if I didn't know, we had a chance now, we have almost 26 days. We need to go and meet the people and make them decide and be a part of this.
Thank you so much for calling, caller. And you have a very, very good point. The reality is that the Honorable decided to give us the shortest possible time to campaign. He had all his candidates. He had all his machinery in place. He had everything. He had an unfair advantage over us all. But I believe that God's will prevail. And I really believe that the voice of the people is the voice of God. You can do all manner of things to swing something in your favor. But if God determines that this is not your time, you're not God there. Yeah? So, I mean, yes, to the caller, all of the election paraphernalia would be available soon. Right? You could just check with the office and they'll let you know when to get jerseys and all of that stuff. But this is bigger than an election for me. I mean, the election is just a temporary vehicle. But for Tasha Grace Boris, this is about people. This is about my people. This is about my children. This is about helping to build a legacy in Tobago that could withstand the test of time. And that work starts now. That work has already started. It will continue. And long after I'm dead and gone, I hope that we've empowered people in their spaces to continue to work and continue to improve and continue to ensure that our communities grow, to continue to ensure that our communities get and see the best of us, that they see the best that we have to offer to the highest offices in our country, that we should no longer be electing politicians, but representatives. This is Wake Up Wednesday's people. Wednesday, 15 July. Today is the last day for you to sort out your registration in order to be eligible to vote on August 10th, 2020. The EBC office is open until 6 p.m. this afternoon. If you have any issues, if you check the list, go on EBC website, www.ebctt.com. Check your registration details. Once you are registered, you will see your polling station there. Even if you do not receive a poll card in the mail, you can go to the polling station on election day. You will be issued a poll card. But ensure that you are registered to vote. Today is your last day to ensure that you get on that list, that final list, so that when you go on election day to register your choice, when you go to decide which of the applicants for the vacancies that exist is worthy of your support, make sure that you can do so. So once again, go to the EBC website, www.ebctt.com. Check your registration. If you have any issues at all, take some time today. Go down to the EBC office, check with the personnel there. I understand that the service there is excellent these days. Yes? And I hope that those standards would be maintained long after the election is over. Go to the EBC office, meet with the personnel there, and have them ensure that your name is on the list to vote, because this is your legal opportunity. It comes around once every 5 years under normal circumstances, in general, once every 4 years for THA. And barring any unforeseen circumstances, it may come earlier. It has happened before. But in any case, this is your legal opportunity as a population to register either your pleasure, your happiness, your contentment with what has gone before, or your disappointment, displeasure, and sometimes disgust with what you have seen passing for governance. This is your opportunity to submit your performance appraisal and either rehire or fire who has been there. My name is Tasha Grace Boris, PDP candidate for Tobago West. Thank you for joining me on Wake Up Wednesdays. I will be back with you, God Spare Life, tomorrow morning, once again at 7 a.m. For Transformation Thursdays. We're talking about what are we going to do to transform with this space. We talk about an empowered people. It starts with you. It starts within you. But we need the ideas. We need the ideas. So Transformation Thursday is talking about what plans, what vision, what dreams, what goals do you have in your space, wherever you are, to transform your communities, transform this Tobago. That's what we're talking about, progress. It's a conversation about progress tomorrow morning. So I invite all of you to tune in once again in your homes, in your offices, on your radios, online on YouTube, online on Facebook, and also on my live. I encourage you to tune in tomorrow and let's talk about ideas. Let's talk about transformation. Let's talk about taking this place forward. Let me put aside the politics for a while. Let's talk about what progress should look like. Let's talk about a Tobago 5 years from now when we have a university. Let's talk about a Tobago 10 years from now when we have sustainable industry that brings in revenue that we can take care of ourselves. Let's talk about a Tobago where our communities are empowered to make decisions on their own behalf, where everybody is living good. That is the length and breadth of my vision. All are we have to live good right here. So join me tomorrow for Transformation Thursdays. I will see you. Have a great day. Have a blessed day. Be safe wherever you are. And I will be back tomorrow. God Spare Life, as I said, 7 o'clock in the morning. Transformation Thursdays. This is the PDP, Progressive Democratic Patriots. I am your potential candidate, prospective candidate. Friday is nomination day. I have to sort out my papers to ensure that I am duly nominated. But I am your candidate for Tobago West, Tasha Grace Boris. And I will see you tomorrow. Take care.
I have love for the whole wide world. With you at the center, you are the master key. If love is by my side, then who can deny me? I keep climbing higher, higher. We going down the road, hands in the air. People everywhere, love and unity is there. It's that time of year where we don't care. It don't matter where you're from, put your flag in the air and represent. Just one love, just one love, just one love, just one love. And represent. Just one love, just one love, just one love, just one love. My people, do you listen? Tell me, do you hear? What is your position for the people? Do you care? Yeah. Will you tell me that you represent? I really want to see some evidence. In freedom, this is evidence. So bring it from your soul. One love is the anthem. One love is the anthem. 'Cause
in distribution and we have some more to spare, yeah. And we live like this, yeah, every day. We do it in love and we don't delay. Love like this, we must relay. It's in your heart and soul. What love is the anthem? What love is the anthem?
'Cause this is carnival, where we come alive. Oh no, we not gonna fight. We gonna dance all night. So just wave your flag, make it touch the sky. We not gonna stop tonight. So let me see your hands.
For far too long, Tobago been crying out. PNM completes the next term and we still crying out. PDP forever and ever. I will never ever vote the oppressor, the slave master. What a disaster. Tobago, we are the head and not the tail. Let's demand the change. Set our speeches and promises again and again. To no avail. Election games, hey! East and West, please listen to me. Prepare either way, it's 2020. Watson, Duke and Tashia Boris. Flush away, pen them in the toilet. All they want is we vote and to full their pocket. But people before politics, that is we are stick. The needs of the people is the priority. How much roof done cover, fisherman boat fix. PDP forever and ever. I will never ever vote the oppressor, the slave master. What a displeasure. No. Tobago, we are the head and not the tail. Let's demand the change. Set our speeches and promises again and again. To no avail. Election games. Hey. Vote Watson in the east, vote Ashia in the west. Tobago, don't hesitate to drive the X. Drive it like you're fed up, drive it like you're vexed. I said to drive it like when you break up with your ex. Smoke Shamfa and Ayana from their Balizanes. And when the ballots are in and EBC done check. What a celebration in Roxborough complex. Watson take the east, Ashabi take the west. PDP forever and ever. I will never ever vote the oppressor, the slave master. What a disaster. Tobago, we are the head and not the tail. Let's demand the change. Set our speeches and promises again and again. To no avail. Election games. Hey, hey. For far too long, Tobago been crying out. PNM completes the next term and we still crying out. For far too long, Tobago been crying out. PNM completes the next term and we still crying out. For far too long, Tobago been crying out. PNM completes the next term and we still crying out. PDP forever and ever. I will never ever vote the oppressor, the slave master. What a disaster. Tobago, we are the head and not the tail. Let's demand the change. Set our speeches and promises again and again. To no avail. Election games. Hey! East and West, please listen to me. Prepare either way, it's 2020. Watson, Duke and Tashia Boris. Flush away, pen them in the toilet. All they want is we vote and to full their pocket. But people before politics, that is we are stick. The needs of the people is the priority. How much roof done cover, fisherman boat fix. For far too long, Tobago been crying out. PNM completes the next term and we still crying out. PDP forever and ever. I will never ever vote the oppressor, the slave master. What a disaster. Tobago, we are the head and not the tail. Let's demand the change. Set our speeches and promises again and again. To no avail. Election games. Hey! East and West, please listen to me. Prepare either way, it's 2020. Watson, Duke and Tashia Boris. Flush away, pen them in the toilet. All they want is we vote and to full their pocket. But people before politics, that is we are stick. The needs of the people is the priority. How much roof done cover, fisherman boat fix. PDP forever and ever. I will never ever vote the oppressor, the slave master. What a displeasure. No. Tobago, we are the head and not the tail. Let's demand the change. Set our speeches and promises again. up with your ex. Smoke champa and Ayana from their Balizanes. And when the ballots are in an EBC done check. What a celebration in Roxborough complex. Watson take the east, Tasha B take the west. PDP forever and ever. I will never ever vote the oppressor, the slave master. What a disaster. Tobago, we are the head and not the tail. Let's demand the change. Set our speeches and promises again and again. To no avail. Election games. Hey, hey. For far too long, Tobago been crying out. PNM completes the next term and we still crying out. For far too long, Tobago been crying out. PNM completes the next term and we still crying out. For far too long, Tobago been crying out. PNM completes the next term and we still crying out. PDP forever and ever. I will never ever vote the oppressor, the slave master. What a disaster. Tobago, we are the head and not the tail. Let's demand the change. Set our speeches and promises again and again. To no avail. Election games. Hey! East and West, please listen to me. Prepare either way, it's 2020. Watson, Duke and Tashia Boris. Flush away, pen them in the toilet. All they want is we vote and to full their pocket. But people before politics, that is we are stick. The needs of the people is the priority. Too much roof done cover, fisherman boat fix. PDP forever and never. I will never ever vote the oppressor, the slave master. What a displeasure. No. Tobago, we are the head and not the tail. Let's demand the change. Set our speeches and promises again and again. To no avail. Election games. Aye. Vote Watson in the east, vote Ashia in the west. Tobago, don't hesitate to drive the X. Drive it like you're fed up, drive it like you're vexed. I said to drive it like when you break up with your ex. Smoke champa and Ayana from their Balizanes. And when the ballots are in an EBC done check. What a celebration in Roxborough complex. Watson take the east, Tasha B take the west. PDP forever and ever. I will never ever vote the oppressor, the slave master. What a disaster. Tobago, we are the head and not the tail. Let's demand the change. Set our speeches and promises again and again. To no avail. Election games. Hey, hey. For far too long, Tobago been crying out. PNM completes the next term and we still crying out. For far too long, Tobago been crying out. PNM completes the next term and we still crying out.